couple of years ago, I was able to try out the Kawasaki ZX-4RR out on the racetrack when I was still kind of learning. That was probably my second time on the track. Now, I didn't get to really tinker with it too much. I literally got on the bike, followed the instructor, entered the track. However, I did absolutely enjoy it. So when Kawasaki Philippines said they still had the bike, I asked them if I could test it out to see what it was like as a daily ride, and they said yes. So let's find out how this pocket rocket handles the urban jungle in this episode of Beyond the Ride. So let's talk about the aesthetics first. By the looks of it, this unit has spent most of its life out on the racetrack because you can see a lot of dings, dents and scratches. But I applaud that because that's really the home turf of this motorcycle. Now, I do really love Kawasaki motorcycles, and I think it's because when I was a kid, there was this cartoon called Mask, where the vehicles would transform into other vehicles, and they had this green motorcycle called Condor that would transform into a helicopter, and I just thought it was really cool. It had a pretty cool toy as well. Now, this is not your normal Ninja 400 or 500. This is a spec'd out super sport for those fans of the 90s and maybe even the 80s retro inline 4 sport bikes, which is why I wish it kind of looked like those as well, like the ZX-4R, the one with the dual round headlights, or maybe even the OG Top Gun bike. I think if it kind of looked more like that, I probably would have lined up to buy one of these. But don't get me wrong, it's a good looking bike. It looks like its bigger siblings. I'm just a sucker for retro sport bikes. Powering the bike is a 401cc liquid-cooled 4-stroke inline 4 engine that puts out 76 horsepower at 14,000 RPM. And it's got a max torque of 40 Newton meters at 13,200 RPM. In some markets, the displacement is different, but here in the Philippines, and I do believe also in China, we get the 401cc variant. Now, the ram air system up front forces pressurized air into the engine's airbox to increase power, specifically at higher speeds. You get Kawasaki branded brakes, which were made by Nissan, and you also get 2 discs up front. Now, typically, for lower displacement bikes, you would only get 1, but here you get 2. For the rear, you also do have the same calipers, and you have dual channel ABS. The front suspension is a Showa inverted fork, which is adjustable, and for the rear you get Showa's BFRC light rear shock. It's the same tech used in the ZX-10R. For the wheels and tires, up front it's 120/70, and for the rear it's 160/60, both 17s, wrapped with Pirelli Super Corsas. So as I mentioned, this is a spec'd out super sport, so it is loaded with tech, and that's really what differentiates it from the normal Ninja 400 and 500. You have the nice looking dash right here, which you can access by pressing these 2 buttons. And I don't love that actually. I don't love that you have to press these 2 buttons to access basically the dash. But once you're in there, you can control vehicle settings. It does have a couple of riding modes, but 4 riding modes, including one that is called Rider, which you can customize. And obviously you want to do that to customize the power delivery as well as the traction control. And you do get a whole lot of other goodies with this bike as well. You do get, of course, the lap timer. You do have also ride-by-wire, up and down quick shifter, LEDs all around. I mean, the works. And that's really why I think this bike is significantly more expensive than the normal Ninja 400 and 500. The curb weight is 188 kilograms, and you get a 15-liter tank. And depending on how you ride, remember this is an inline 4, you will get roughly about more or less 25 kilometers per liter. The seat height, 800 millimeters. I'm 5'6", with a 764 millimeter inseam. And for your information, that is the situation right there. Now, I want to show you the ergonomics of the bike before we ride out. As you can see, it is a little bit more cramped. It is a little bit more, I guess, aggressive or committed than the regular Ninja 400 and 500. Now, let's go to perhaps the main reason why Kawasaki riders would buy this bike, and that would be it's the sound test. Okay, daily riding with the Kawasaki Ninja ZX-4RR. Now, as I mentioned, the seating position is definitely a little bit more aggressive than that of the Ninja 400, 500, or other sport bikes in its class, but it's still manageable. It's nothing too extreme. It's definitely something that you can use on a daily and it wouldn't be too much of a problem. Of course, if you want something more comfortable, well, this is not the bike for you, right? Because it is a super sport. If you wanted comfort, go get a Naked or an ADV. You would really get this because you want something sporty, and sporty it definitely is. Now, as you can imagine, most of the power is higher up, and the revs are quick, so you'll get there pretty fast, but you don't get much grunt down low. Now, when you get up in the revs, it'll start screaming, and that's where it wants to be. So for riding around the city, it's not the best. Is it capable? Absolutely. But it's definitely not the best. It's not the ideal playground for it. Now, the handling is fantastic. It's nimble, you get really good feedback. It's just great. It's just like the other Ninjas out there. And when you sit in the saddle and feel the bike for the first time, and you touch the switches, it definitely feels more premium than the Ninja 400 and 500 and other bikes actually in its class. This definitely feels more sophisticated. Yeah, the high revs, it's definitely mesmerizing. The 4-cylinder engine, the inline 4, it just sounds so good. But the funny thing is, you think you're going fast, but you're really not going that fast. It gives you the sensation that you're going a lot quicker than you really are. And honestly, I don't think that's a bad thing. I mean, you buy a bike because you want the feeling, right? You want to feel what a motorcycle is. And this definitely gives you the feeling of a super sport. It's basically got full-size bike tech in a smaller package. And yes, the power delivery is top-end biased. It needs and craves for the high revs. The normal Ninjas, 400 and 500, would be a little bit more practical in my opinion. Those are more comfortable. The seating position is not as committed. The riding stance, it's also more fuel efficient. It's also more affordable. But I honestly think this is so much cooler, and it feels better. It's got more tech, and as I mentioned, it is more sophisticated, and it is more fun as well. So who exactly is this bike for? Like, what type of person, what type of rider would ride this bike? I'd say it's geared for riders craving, full-size bike dynamics in a more approachable and accessible package. Guys who are track day enthusiasts, maybe some younger riders out there who want to learn how to ride on the track and still have a bike that they can take around on a daily. This is definitely for them. And also, for seasoned riders looking for agile fun, and the fans of those 90s and 80s retro bikes, the inline 4 super bikes back in the day, and they want the feeling and sensation of basically the good old days. I think those are the type of people who would enjoy this motorcycle. So the Kawasaki ZX-4RR is a little unique and not exactly the most practical. A brand new Ninja 500 starts at 350,000 Philippine pesos. While this, which is kind of like the twin brother that is better at all sports and happens to be smarter as well, starts at 499,000 Philippine pesos. Yes, it is significantly more expensive, but make no mistake about it, it is the superior motorcycle. For more information about this bike and other MCs out there, log on to www.motodeal.com.ph. I'm Jinno. Thanks for watching this episode of Beyond the Ride.